What's up guys, welcome back to Fancy Goldfish Fanatics. As you can see, the marine tank is fully empty, so it's time to get it cleaned down, ready for its new arrivals. So stay tuned to find out more. Hey Fanatics family, welcome back. As always, check out those links in the description. Make sure you check out our sponsors, Star Fisheries and Jimmy Goldfish USA. And make sure you like our brand new Facebook page. Make sure you give it a like and check it out. We post all of our updates and videos on it. As you'll see behind me, the marine tank is nearly empty. Hopefully, if you watched the previous video we did on shutting the marine tank down, you will see that we got rid of all of the inhabitants and it is now time to give it a good clean. So in this video, I'm going to be cleaning it down, showing you how I'm going to clean it. It's going to be relatively simple, and how I'm going to prepare it ready for the Oranda so we have no sort of cross-contamination and we have no issues going forward. So as you can see, loads of detritus on the bottom. We've got loads of empty shells, bits of rock, loads of things like that. So to start off with, what I'm going to do is I'm going to siphon the rest of this water out, siphon all of the sand bed, getting out as much detritus as possible, and then what I'm going to do is start to flush it through with fresh water and make sure I get all of that nutrients out, make sure the sand is real nice and clean, and then we've got to sieve or remove all of the bits of shell and rock, make sure the sand is as black as it can be and it looks just nice and clean. So I'm going to crack on with that now and I'll catch you in a bit. So as I mentioned, I am going to be draining this tank down. There is around 40% salt water left in the system, and I'm also going to be flushing it all through. Now you can see there is lots of dirt and detritus left on that black sand, and you can really see it changing colour as I use that siphon to work away at it, removing all of that from the tank, because I definitely do not want any pockets of bacteria, any pockets of gas or dirt and detritus left in the system when I add the goldfish. You'll also notice I have the sieve, and I'm sieving any shells and small pieces of rock that have been left over. Obviously this is not really a problem for the goldfish, but aesthetically I want that sand to be as clean as possible. Now the sand will have a few specks of white in it, but I think it creates quite a nice look and it's quite a nice contrast from the black and the white. And I think the black tank with the black background and the majority black sand and the black filter really will allow the fish to show their colours really well. Now to drain this tank from full to the bottom, it took around 4 hours. It took a long time, but I managed to get a huge amount of dirt and detritus out of the system, and I really managed to take a lot of small pieces of rock and shell out of the tank as well, and I was just putting them into a blue bucket. I think in the end I filled that bucket with about half of it full of little pieces of rock and little small flecks of that white kind of gravel that came off of the coral rocks. Now I'm just filling the tank up here with some fresh tap water, and then I'm repeating that process of siphoning all of the sand and draining it back down. You'll notice the tank only fills up to around 15 to 20%, and then I just siphon that all back down away again. I really want to flush through because obviously all of the bacteria in the sand are going to die, and that is a huge nutrient issue potentially for the new system set up. We will have a lot of nutrients being removed from the sand, so I want to make sure I drain all of that water out, really rinse it out thoroughly, remove all of that detritus. Obviously, if there is any bacteria left that is dead or any bits of detritus that have broken down, hopefully that will give us a little bit of a nutrient input to start the new cycle for the Oranda tank. So it is not all bad, but I want to make sure I can clean it down as much as possible. Next up, you'll see me actually in the tank, and I am now installing the bubble wall. So what I have is two 16-inch air stones. I've also got lots of little black sucker cups and the black airline that will be hidden against the filter at the back of the tank, and this will provide some really nice bubble walls to increase oxygen, degas any CO2, and it also means I can run it on the existing air pump I have. Now, the air pump that is running the airlift is a 25 litre of air per minute pump, which moves the water from the main tank into the filter and then pushes it back through. I've also got those 2 air stones running on the same pump, which is really cost efficient, really energy efficient, and it means I can pump a lot of oxygen into the water. As I will have quite a few fish and they will be requiring a lot of food, this will be really good to provide them with enough oxygen in the system and also degas any CO2. Not only do the air stones provide this oxygen, but it's also quite a nice aesthetic look to the tank. I haven't decided what sort of scape I want to do in this tank just yet, or whether I want to leave it bare, but I really like the look of the bubble walls at the back. I did and ah about putting a long 4 to 5 foot bubble wall all the way along the back, but in the end I found this was a cost-effective way to do it, and it also looks quite nice, and I think that was the best way to go in the end. Easy to change the air stones out if there are any problems, and with a large bubble wall, one of the rubber ones, occasionally they can break, or you might not get the full amount of air running through it, and one end might be heavy in bubbles and one end may be quite light. Overall, the tank has finally filled up. Took around an hour and a half to an hour 45 minutes, and you'll see the glass is full of condensation because it's very cold, but overall really happy with it. As you can see, the tank is now completely full of tap water. As you can see, I completely stripped out all of the dirt and detritus that was left in the sand from the marine tank, and also you'll notice there's loads of little bits of rocks and loads of little bits of sediment that I still need to sieve out and remove, but overall I'm pretty happy with it. Obviously we're going to have a few bits of white sand in mixed with the black sand, but it looks quite nice and it creates quite a nice texture and something a little bit different. But I'm going to have to go through with the sieve removing any of the large bits really. But overall it looks pretty good. Also, I refitted the airlift system back together, completely took it apart, cleaned it all out. It was actually surprisingly quite clean. Obviously the marine tank had only been running about 6 months, and that is probably not a long time, and a lot of you in the comments may still be raving at me saying, why have you shut that tank down? It's only been 6 months. And I have explained, I probably haven't explained in too much detail, but I really did want to start the Oranda tank, and I did get this tank for Fancy Goldfish. I just wanted to really have a go at using the airlift on a marine system, but I completed that. I found new homes for all of the inhabitants, as I mentioned, and really I just wanted to try this. I enjoyed setting up the whole of the marine tank, the aquascape, building everything, collecting all the corals and fish, but I just wanted to change, and I thought this would be good for the channel, and I could not get it off my mind, so I had to do it. But overall, that is behind us in the past, and now we can focus on the future, which is the Oranda. I'm going to be doing probably 2 or 3 sessions siphoning the sand again to make sure I've got rid of as much possible dirt and detritus that it could be left in the sand, because I don't want to have high nutrient problems or anything that could contaminate the water for the goldfish. So what I'm going to do is, in the future, probably off video, I will do 3 siphoning sessions, probably around 20% of water, and then before the goldfish come, I'm going to do a 50% water change, add lots of carbon, lots of activated carbon, and make sure the water is in pristine condition for them. Now, as you saw, I also added the airstone bubble walls at the back of the tank. I'm not sure too much about scaping yet. I have a few ideas for some scapes. I might just leave it as it is. What do you guys think down below? Have you got any ideas what I could put in the tank as maybe a scape? You'll notice the lights aren't on yet, but when I talk about setting the tank up for the Oranda, in the next video we will get the lights running, and I will show you a little walk around tour of what the tank's looking like. We're going to get the filter media into the filter section, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about filtration and maintenance on this tank. This video purely was me deconstructing the reef, getting it full, cleaned out, completely cleaned out and ready for the fish. And in the next video we will be setting up the filtration system, making sure it's ready for the fish. And then hopefully in maybe 2 weeks time, maybe a bit longer, maybe 3 or 4 weeks, we will start to look at adding some new inhabitants to the tank, making sure it's cycled fully and we have the correct number of bacteria and the correct amount of bacteria ready for the new inhabitants. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do have any questions, leave them down below, and hopefully not too many of you are going to have a go at me for getting rid of the marine tank. But as I said, needs must, and I really want to get this Oranda tank set up, and I can't wait to see some absolutely stunning Oranda in this system. So that is it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed watching it. As always, thank you all for watching. Remember to keep those water changes up, and happy fish keeping.